Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. With your morning horn disease, your sip of chaga coffee. Okay, big week this week. For those of you this weekend who are on the private road, I had two postings. One is the Jenny Moonstone discussion looking at the debt ceiling chaos, BlackRock as the new silver short. Huge, by the way. XRP, Ripple case, and new crypto bull. But also yesterday, last night I believe, I posted a discussion about the three different debt ceiling scenarios and what will happen in each case. Go check that out at the private road at roadtoruta.com. Okay, so yes, they talks fall apart the weekend, and then they're going to meet Monday now about debt ceiling deal or extension or no deal. All part of the drama, all part of the scripted plan. This has been scripted for a very long time. Remember, the system has to implode while Biden is in. Whether or not he's in is up to you if you do any research. Obviously, he's really not in, and we're all just watching the show. It's really bizarre. But at the same time, maybe it always was. Maybe Washington didn't rule our lives anyway before, and this is just even more legit, and we're just starting to see through the fog. That's where I think we are. We're starting to see through the fog, and who has controlled us this whole time, and why, and what the hell? What happened to sovereign immunity? Whatever happened to the individual right to be free? I didn't sign my life away to anybody. That whole thing about Social Security. Oh, your Social Security number means you're a slave to the master. That's bullshit. But it's bullshit. I never ceded my individual life to anybody else. And if it's in the fine print of my birth certificate or whatever the bullshit they're cracking out now, so be it. I did not knowingly sign anything over. Would you? Did you ever? We have freedom of choice, the most important, precious right of freedom of choice. We can choose not to participate in Joe Biden's system, in the deep state system, in the bad guy system, in the bankster system, in the bad ET system or the good ET system. We have free choice. We have free will. Our souls are not spoken for. We speak for our souls. That's basically where I'm coming to. And they could play whatever games they freaking want to. Go ahead, play your games. So, check out the private road discussion on the three scenarios. The three scenarios being, number one, they increase the debt limit. Number two, they have a delay, a little bit of an increase. And number three, they don't increase. They all end up in the same place, just at different times. And people don't understand if the debt ceiling is allowed to increase, if they pump the debt ceiling $2.53 trillion, it doesn't fix anything. As a matter of fact, it might speed up the death of certain things that are so important. Like the 4,000 regional banks would die on that news. And I go into that in that video. So check out the private road. I don't know which scenario is going to come true, but it has to be one of the three. And if I'm a gambling man, which I am, my guess would be that there is no deal, which is completely contrary to the rest of the United States history. We've always had a deal, always had a can to kick down the road. But my guess is, there is none. There's chaos sooner rather than later. But the chaos will come anyway. So there we have it. Ted Butler looked at the COT's commitment of traders on silver, on the COMEX, on the criminal rigging of the silver market. That's where the price of silver is determined on the COMEX. The COMEX is the futures and options trading floor controlled by the very people who rig the price of silver. But there's a new sheriff in town as far as silver riggers. Usually it's the top four suppressing the price and then playing the game and covering their shorts after they slam the price of silver down. There's a new player in there, and it's not one of the commercials. It is a managed money, meaning like hedge fund, or could it be BlackRock. That's my take. It's BlackRock. And a little hint for you Jenny Moonstone fans. Yeah, it was BlackRock. So BlackRock just increased. I'm not even going to say the large managed money short. I'm just going to say BlackRock. BlackRock increased their silver short to over 55 million ounces, or 52 million ounces at least 52 million ounces short, which puts them in the top 3 according to Ted Butler. Ted knows what he's talking about. If you haven't subscribed yet, butlerresearch.com. Great article on, great way to follow up on silver. If you have a hard time reading the Commitment of Traders report, you want to know who are these enemies of the humanity who are shorting the crap out of silver. Who has the kind of power to keep silver at less than 1/2 of its all-time high of 1980? That's some serious firepower. And right now, there were 4 big commercials doing it. Now there's the 4 big traders are 3 commercials and 1 managed money. And that managed money trader is greatly increasing every week, I think it's reported. Every week they keep growing and growing it, and it's over 52 million ounce silver short now. That's half of what Buffett had. Not Buffett, the Hunt brothers. Half of what the Hunt brothers had back in 1980, and they got busted for that, remember? So I would expect, and this is exactly what's happening, the big money commercials are trying to get out of their silver short, leaving just one entity left, BlackRock. Now, BlackRock is claiming that they are hedging SLV silver. They shouldn't be in the managed money category. They should be in the commercial category. So don't be surprised that all of a sudden the CFTC says, oh, we miscategorized one of the traders. They changed. And if that happens, that's basically saying, yeah, it was BlackRock because they own SLV. Now, if SLV goes under, you don't get silver. The shareholder, does not get silver. You get paid out in cash if the market's still open, which probably won't be. So you get zero if you own SLV or CEF or any of the ETFs, 0. Now, where does the physical silver go? Now, it goes back to the authorized participants. There's like 12 of them, including Virtu Financial, Vinny Viola, the market rigger. But also, we don't know what deals that BlackRock has struck with the authorized participant. It could be that BlackRock is hedging their deals with the authorized participants who basically have the ability to withdraw SLV silver. That's how these derivatives get. All this is derivative bullshit. And because the CFTC is in bed with the riggers and BlackRock, they allow it, which is insane. I mean, come on. At some point, you got to pull the plug on this game. Anyway, right now they're playing with the 50-day, 100-day, and 200-day moving averages. 50-day is 24.3. 100-day is $23.38, and 200-day is $21.95. Right now, we're just hovering, about to crack through. They're trying to crack through the 100-day moving average, which triggers the technical traders to sell. They'll sell and even put on shorts. And it gets below the 200-day moving average, which is about $22. Then they sell a lot, and that's when the commercials cover. And supposedly BlackRock should cover under 22. But remember, as they cover, they need someone to sell them something. Who is the seller? The technical traders. They're the ones selling and shorting. So it's easy for them to cover when they press it below the moving averages. But like any other short position, with a long position, you can lose 100% of your investment. With a short position, you can lose infinity. You can lose everybody's money that you know, because there is no limit to what losses are on the short side. So $1,000 price of silver would destroy any of the shorts by far, unless they can provide the physical metal. And if silver does go to $1,000, there won't be any physical metal to be had. So you better be sure you can get it. Now, is BlackRock sure that they can secure the physical metal out of SLV? Well, they can't do it directly according to the prospectus because it goes to the authorized participants if they shut down SLV, which they can do, by the way. But we don't know the transactions, the OTC transactions over the counter, because they aren't recorded anywhere other than the Office of Comptroller of Currency. But that's just banks. And BlackRock is not a bank. So very interesting times. Here's something I want to touch on. Now, it's called LiborGate 2.0. Rate rigging during Lehman crisis was allegedly central bank led. So they threw all these people in jail for rigging the LIBOR rates, which affect every mortgage on the planet, every form of debt on the planet. And 37 brokers and traders have been prosecuted. And now it turns out it was the central banks that were telling them to do all this. They didn't come out. They didn't provide information. But now it has come out. 10 years later. More than that. 15 years later. In a book called Rigged, a book by Andy Vettery on LIBOR rigging scandal, he explains how in 2008 it was central banks and government that pressed banks to bring down key interest rates, but none of this evidence was ever shown to juries in these 37 traders and brokers who were busted. Where have we heard that before? Where have we heard that government is involved in the manipulation of prices? It is in silver, it is in gold, it is in everything. LIBOR, which affects every single debt-based instrument on the planet. And it was central banks and governments pressuring people to do it, or doing it for the central banks and governments. Where have we heard that before? Where have we heard that before? How about this guy, Mr. Gary Gensler, now head of the SEC and head crypto smasher? Make no mistake, this was all done on purpose. The crypto, this is the third smash I've lived through. It started in 2021, kind of later in the year. When was Gary Gensler put as the head of the SEC? In April 2021. But when he went through his meetings to get approved, SEC Chairman Gary Gensler makes pro-crypto comments at confirmation hearing. Of course he was. All through 2020 to 2001, all the way up to the $60 bubble. He was pro, and everybody at the U.S. government was, oh yeah, do this, get in. This is entrapment. And you can see it in the Bitcoin price right in here. Get in, everybody's getting in. DeFi is the wave of the future. Gary Gensler is the man at the SEC. And then what happened? This case. In August of 2021, SEC charges decentralized finance lender and top executive raising $30 million through fraudulent offerings. Case is the agency's first involving using DeFi technology. You should have known at that moment in time that the trap was closed. Gary Gensler and the Exchange Stabilization Fund, which is the head of the SEC, the head of the CFTC, Department of Treasury, the head of Treasury, and the head of the Fed, all colluded to destroy the price of cryptos through the DeFi. They let it build up, said, oh yeah, and we got Gary Gensler in, and then bang, slam it down and continue to slam. Throughout 2022, Commission filed 760 enforcement actions and recovered a record $6.4 billion in penalties. And a lot of that was crypto. And then now what's going on? Republicans pummel SEC Gary Gensler over crypto crackdown. This is a game. It's a fraud. It is obvious. It's not going to take us, what? This took 15 years to understand that it was government and central banks that was pushing for the destruction of LIBOR, rigging the numbers in LIBOR. It is the same thing going on with cryptos right now. And Gary Gensler is the ringleader, obviously. And this is when you hit the peak of audacity. Gensler, SEC stands ready to help as crypto startups startups face a wave of enforcement actions. The lead regulator says crypto firms tend to be built on false narratives. Gary Gensler is the false narrative. Gary Gensler, the same guy who approved the Steele dossier. He paid for it for the Clinton campaign. He wrote the check. I think it was $1 million. The thing that threw our entire country into chaos. He's un-American. And I knew it from the very start. And even before he got there, he was involved with this. Sorry. This is Reggie Middleton's patent. After the SEC came down on Reggie Middleton, Reggie Middleton filed the patent for DeFi back on May 5th, 2015, before Ethereum was even begun. Reggie Middleton had the patent on DeFi. Oh, he filed it, and he actually it got published. It was approved on June 29, 2017. Reggie Middleton controls all the DeFi markets. Most 90% of the crypto. It's his technology. Reggie is not out to destroy cryptos, exact opposite. He wants cryptos to thrive. But the SEC didn't want him even seeing the light of day, so they threw the book at him and made up shit and completely distorted everything he was doing. He was working with the Jamaican Stock Exchange to implement peer-to-peer transactions. And when Gary Gensler says, hey, come work with us, Reggie Middleton was working with the SEC. Why would any crypto company in their right mind go work with the SEC when the SEC went behind Reggie's back while he was working with him? Reggie told them, hey, I'm working on this great deal with the Jamaican Stock Exchange to make it fair so that people can trade peer-to-peer and you don't have to go through these criminal bankers and brokers. The SEC went behind Reggie's back. He was working with him behind his back to tell the Jamaican government, stop what you're doing. You will not allow Reggie Middleton to implement peer-to-peer transactions on your exchange, scuttlebutting the whole deal. He had an MOU, a memorandum of understanding. And it was the SEC that went in there and scuttled the deal. And then they threw the book at Reggie. They threw 50 books at Reggie. 99% was complete bullshit. And threw Reggie into purgatory. And froze the Veritasium assets. That's the interesting thing. They're still frozen to this day. Do you know any other cryptos that this has happened to? It just happens that Reggie Middleton, oh, by the way, will replace the criminal bankers that Gary Gensler works for. So those tokens are still frozen. Reggie is banned from the crypto world. Do you know anybody else who had that kind of treatment? It is insane. And then, just to throw a monkey wrench in July 2017, they approved the Reggie Middleton patent after they already took him down. They approved the patent. This is just crazy world we live in. And maybe this is just a monkey wrench to throw into the cryptos. I don't know. I own Veritasium as a lottery ticket. Because even if, let's just say, the SEC goes away with the government, which I think the government will go away when the system crashes. Can Reggie enforce the patent if the government goes away? Questions like that will be asked. If the government stays in power, will the SEC reverse what they did to Reggie and say, hey, help us, like Cliff I's data says. Help us get started again. The markets have been destroyed because of all the criminality. You invented a peer-to-peer transaction type of system. Why not implement it in all our broken exchanges so that we can fix them and move forward? We'll find out. We will find out. Again, it's like a lottery ticket. It's just like buying a lottery ticket. But if it does pay off, you'll be the talk of the town. One Veritasium token. Cliff's data has one Veritasium token going higher than the price of Bitcoin. So, yeah. Believe that one. And by the way, those saying, Reggie just threw a DeFi patent in because he just wanted to disrupt it was already invented by other people and all that. Maybe so, but they didn't patent it. As a matter of fact, if you look at the beginning, I looked at the history of DeFi. DeFi started really with the launch of Ethereum in 2015. And it was in, I think, June or July of 2015 that Ethereum got launched. You look when the Reggie Middleton patent is, right here, May of 2015. So whether it happened coincidentally or whatever, Ethereum wasn't patented. Reggie Middleton submitted it, and this patent took a long time to draw, to have, I mean, all kinds of things. This all covers pretty much all of most of the cryptocurrencies. And it has CBDCs is under Reggie Middleton's patent. So can the government create a CBDC without Reggie Middleton? Probably not. And the patents, he has 1 in the US and 2 in Japan. I think he'll have patents all over the world by the time this is over. So that's where we are. Yes, clearly, this LIBOR gate exposing government and regulators were the ones created the chaos. Same thing's going on with cryptos, silver, everything. It is the government, it is the central banks creating the chaos to keep you away from what you need to invest in to survive their wrath. So buy your silver, buy your gold. If you buy gold, swap it for silver as fast as you can. And then if you love gold, great. If you really love gold, you would swap your gold right now for 80 to 1. And then when silver blows through the manipulation, it goes to 7 to 1 or 1 to 1, which I think will go to 1 to 1 with gold. Go back and buy, 80 times the amount of gold you had right now. Just look at your gold right now. Say, I imagine if I can get 80 times this amount of gold. Well, I'm telling you a way you can. Swap your gold for silver. When silver goes 1 to 1 with gold, you swap your silver for gold, and you have 80 times the amount of gold you have right now. That's the way to get rich. I'm not saying, this is not investment advice. This is a crazy YouTube guy who has no idea what he's talking about, even though the Fed wrote him up in their comic books. I'm just saying, it makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? That's what I got for you today. I'll be checking in all week. It's going to be crazy. You want to join the private road, get an inside scoop on all this stuff, go to roadtoroot.com, click on subscribe today, and we will see you this coin, the coolest coin ever made. And here's how it's made. I'll talk to you guys later.